What's up, guys? I just had coffee with one of my old teachers, and she's amazing, bro. Like, every time we get together, like, we have the deepest conversations. And something that she was, like, talking to me about was, like, when her mom, like, passed, or, like, before she passed, the hospice nurse had asked her if there was anybody that she thought she needed to, like, forgive or, like, you know, make amends with before she passed. And it just, like, made me think of the time at PSI this year which I mentioned it in one of my videos, I think my second date with myself. I mentioned it in there, but I just had to make a whole separate video for it because I had this realization. So when this happened at PSI, it was very, like, eye-opening for me, but I didn't, like, realize, you know, the deeper stuff until, like, now. So, like, one thing, like, you always hear is people saying live every day like it's your last, because you really don't know when your last day is. Like, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, like, so live every day like it's your last. And you hear that, but I don't think, at least for me, I'm speaking for myself, like, you hear that and you're like, yeah, but you still don't live it like it's your last. And so, like, I feel like if I experience that, a lot of other people do too. Like, you hear that and you think it's amazing, but you don't actually live every day like it's your last. So the thing that happened at PSI was, he said, like, by 8 p.m. tomorrow, if you knew that you would be gone, so you have 24 hours left, what would you do? And we had to write it down. And he said, like, if you want to travel, all that stuff, like, you have to add that time in. So really, like, see if that's important enough to you, like, you know, like, traveling would actually, like, be a part of that time. So really think of, like, what would you do if you only had till 8 p.m. tomorrow? And so we all wrote down our stuff, and we only had a certain amount of time that we could write, and then we were, like, told to stop, and we couldn't write anything else. And so once that was done, we read what we wrote, and then, like, after you read what you wrote, he asked, why don't you do that stuff right now? Because tomorrow really could be your last day. So why don't you go do that stuff right now? And at least for me, like, the first thing I wrote about was a relationship. And then the second thing I wrote about too was also relationship oriented. And when I stopped, like, and that stuff was, like, right away. Like, I knew for a fact I wanted to do that. And then I had extra time, like, before he said stop. And then that's when I started writing, like, oh, like, skydive. Like, no, like, that's not really what you would do. Like, that was just, like, after, like, I'd written down the stuff I really want to do. So really all the stuff I really wanted to do, like, I was like, absolutely, was all relationships. Either, like, telling people I love them, forgiving people, spending time with my close, like, loved ones. Like, it was all relationship oriented. And so I had that realization. I already had the realization of, like, damn, like, why am I not doing this stuff right now? So that was really that realization I had at PSI, but then I didn't have the, like, realization of, like, relationships until, like, today when I was, like, talking to her. And it was just so beautiful because, like, I know that 99% of the people in that room wrote, like, the same thing. Like, they wrote about relationships. And again, whether that's telling somebody that you love them that you haven't told yet, or, like, even if it's just spending time with your, like, close loved ones, or, like, it may be somebody that you've had conflict with in the past that, like, you need to forgive, like, or, like, make amends with. Like, I know a lot of people wrote about that because, like, after PSI, a lot of people that, like, maybe don't talk to their dad or don't talk to their mom because they have, like, dissonance between them, a lot of them go and call them right after PSI because they have all these realizations. And yeah, it's just so beautiful. When I had that realization, as I was talking with her, we just realized, like, relationships is really what is so important about life. Which you may already know that. Like, I mean, if you told me that, I'd be like, yeah, but, like, it's just when you have this, like, big realization, like, really love the people that are around you and make every moment you're with them intentional. Because, like, if you imagine every person that, like, you're in contact with, like, say you're in a really bad mood for, like, 2 weeks straight and you're just super surface level with them, don't want to connect with them at all, and then that next day one of them could pass away or you could pass away, and then there's like the moments leading up, like you wish you could go back and just say I love you or like whatever. So I just want to inspire you guys, like really like think about the people that you might want to tell that you love them, or people you want to forgive, and why don't you do that today? Why don't you go do that right now? Something else beautiful that she said is we were talking about Jesus, and she was like, it's so beautiful because Jesus would do that exact same thing. Jesus wouldn't go and do a bunch of extravagant stuff in his last hours. He would love the people that are around him. He would love God and love others in his last moments. So, I don't know. It was just a big realization for me. And I wanted to share that with you guys. To really, truly live every day like it's your last. And I encourage you too to like ask yourself that. Give yourself like 2 minutes to write down whatever comes to mind. And stop and like really read what you wrote and be like, dang, like let's go do this right now. Like let's truly live every day like it's your last. Like, so yeah, love others, love God, be intentional every time you are with somebody, in conversation with them, be in the present moment with them, and always tell people you love them when you do, really do. So for that, I love you guys, and yeah, comment down below like if any of you do this and like what you took away from it. But I love you guys.